Hello, everyone. Am I audible to all of you? A quick audio check, guys. Am I audible to everyone? Everyone, please be attentive. As I mentioned yesterday, I want an interactive session. So it has to be a very interactive session today. So be attentive. This is the second demo session of Robot Framework for web automation plus API automation. So Sujit, your question is, when will be the session recordings be shared? It will be shared soon. I believe the yesterday's session recording was shared already, and for today it will be shared once the session is ended. So you guys will be receiving an email which will be telling you about everything, the fee structure and everything else. So how are you guys? I means I just a normal gesture. What's up? How are you? No, we didn't get the yesterday's link. Please share. Okay, you guys will get an email very soon where you guys will be getting the link for yesterday's as well as today's recording, both. So do not worry on that note. Okay. Yep. How many of you are joining from out of India? I just want to know how many of you are joining from out of India. Okay. No worries. So the demo timing sessions will be 10 a.m. IST, Indian Standard Time. The batch is starting from 3rd October, which is Saturday 2020. Okay, so this is some important information to take care. Batch is going to start from 3rd October, Saturday 2020, and the timings will be from 10 a.m. IST. Okay, so now today we are going to discuss about API automation. I believe yesterday we discussed about UI automation. Things were clear to everybody. Whosoever attended the session, I believe things were clear for UI automation yesterday. Guys, be interactive. The only one rule in my class: be interactive. Okay, say yes or no, whatever comes into your mind, just say it. Okay. So how many total classes? The course is approximately scheduled for 2 months, maybe greater than it or less than it. It is going to be between it. Okay. So UI automation is clear. Thanks. Well, PyCharm is not opening when I installed Python in PyCharm. I'll check with it. Yeah, we'll discuss this later, Narendra. I'll connect with you. Do not worry on that note. So today we're going to start on API automation. What is API, guys? If anyone can tell me what is an API? What is an API? If anyone knows about anything, even the full form will work for me. Anything, whatever you guys know about an API, why is it used, and all these things. Anyone who can answer me this question? Application programming interface. Okay, everyone is responding with the complete full form. So let me give you a very brief example of what is an API. How many of you have been there in a restaurant? How many of you have been in a restaurant? I believe major all of us has been there in the restaurant. Yeah. In a restaurant, we what do? We simply go and order some food. Yeah, right? Suppose I ordered, let's say I ordered Maggie, maybe. Suppose my job is to order Maggie. My job is to order Maggie. This Okay. Let's start with the process. What will be the process? I'll go to the restaurant, right? In the restaurant, the waiter will approach me. I'll give the order of Maggie. The waiter will again take the order. Where will it take? The order will be taken to the chef. The chef, completes the request, completes it, right? Once it is completed, it is again handed over to the waiter, and waiter hands it over to the client. Correct? That is what exactly happens whenever we visit a restaurant, right? So in the similar fashion, we have an architecture. We call it as client server architecture. Client server architecture. What is exactly client server architecture? So we have one system, you can say. This one system, which is my end user system, I'll say it is my machine. It is my machine. Suppose I take an example of Google. I believe Google is something which is being used by everybody, right? We go to Google let me open the browser. If I open the Google website, which is google.com, this is my client machine. This is end-to-end client machine. This is my machine. This is where I am working on. Over here, if I search for, let's suppose I'm searching for way to automation. It takes time and it gives me the response. So what exactly is happening? I am sending a request. What is the request? The request is I want to know about way to automation, right? This request is forwarded to a server machine. This request is forwarded to a server machine somewhere. So let me open Paint for you guys, that it will be a better example. Mm, okay, what is this? I don't know. Yeah, there it is. So what exactly I want to tell, suppose this is my client machine. So let me name it as client. Okay. Anyone know how do I fix it? This is closing again and again. Yeah. So this is my client machine. Now I have one server machine. I'll call it as server. Let's say this as server. server. Yeah. I am saying, I'm saying, okay, let me make one more layer in between. So this is my website. The website's name is, I'm saying, google.com. The website's name is google.com. I'm sending something here. I'm sending a request. What I'm sending a request. So I'm saying I'm contacting google.com at a point of time. I'm contacting google.com, right? When I'm contacting google.com, this is called requesting. This is called requesting. So the client is requesting google.com. What is it requesting for? It is requesting for way to automation. It is requesting for way to automation information. Then it's the responsibility of google.com to search for this information in its machine. It's the responsibility of way to automation, google.com, to search the information, to search the required information in their end machine, right? So the request is forwarded. I can simply say, I myself as a client, I send the request to the middleware browser, and the browser forwarded my request to the server. Correct? Now what will happen? Now the server will give me a response. Now the server will give me a response. So I'll say, server says, okay, I found some information. I found 10 results. For server says I found 10 results. So this is what this is called response. The server responded with multiple results. When these results responded, these results were shown. These results were shown to me at my machine. At my machine, I am finally getting the response. This is called the client server architecture. This is called the client server architecture. I'm repeating myself one more time. So we have a client machine. The client requests for something on google.com. It searches for way to automation. The request forwards to the server where all the information is stored. Most of you would be thinking that, Ashish, what is a server? You have never talked about it. So a server is nothing but an end-to-end machine which is situated at some remote location. And on that location, I'm trying to hit a request and I'm trying to gather some information. So google.com is hitting a request on its server machine. It gathers that information and responds it. It's the work of the browser which shows the same response to the client. When I talk about the restaurant example that I just discussed, so in case of a restaurant, the user comes in, the waiter takes the request to the chef. No, the waiter takes the request from the menu. Then the same request is forwarded to the chef. The chef makes the dish and gives to the waiter. The waiter comes back and gives to the client. So this is what a request and a response scenario is called. This interface, which is this I'm talking about, this is called application programming interface. What is an interface? Interface is a middleware between two different machines to something which it can contact to, something which it can connect to. So the client and server is connected through this architecture, this machine. So this request and response is called application programming interface. It is called an API. It is called a API. Am I clear to everybody? Am I clear to everybody till here? A quick yes. All the 43 students joining, I wanted information from all of you. Show some enthusiasm, guys. Come on. That makes the lecture interactive. Abhishek, Ashwarya, Akshita, Arpit, Ashish, Vamish, Dakshina, Deepti, Gopi, Himanshu, Hiren, Jaydev, Jyoti, multiple others. Is it clear to everybody? Yeah? Great. So now I can give you one more. I believe let's try to figure it out. Let's like where exactly the API comes into, what exactly it is. So whenever we talk about APIs, there is a manual testing tool. There is a manual testing tool which is available in the market. This tool is called Postman. This tool is called Postman. Anyone who has heard about it? Yeah. So Jaydev, your question is difference between an API and a REST API. So there are multiple differences. You can say REST API is a category of API. We have SOAP APIs, we have REST APIs, and these are nothing but just bifurcations of. So you can say API is a superset. REST and SOAP are the two different parts. So I'll come to REST API and SOAP API later. As of now, just try to connect with that what exactly an API is. Okay. No worries. You see to Pooja, let me unmute you. You cannot. I need to unmute you from my end also. So just, do you want to say something? Okay. Whenever you want to say something, I repeat, guys. Whenever you guys want to say something, just unmute yourself and ask me to unmute you, and I'll unmute you from my end, and then you can unmute yourself and speak. Okay. Yeah. So what exactly I'm telling you, those whosoever is confused about SOAP and REST, SOAP and REST are two different APIs which are available. This is depreciated. This is not used so much now. That was used to be used earlier. It is not at all used as of now. Nowadays, only REST APIs are used for. SOAP APIs are something where XML things were used, where all the information was transferred in the form of XML files. All the information were transferred in the form of XML file. So there was supposed to be 10 pages XML file where we are transferring the information. So this is not at all used now. Nowadays we are using REST APIs. REST APIs are nothing but they are just you can say we have created one-liners. I'll show you in a minute. It has its own methods. So we'll come to that. Just wait for a few minutes, Ashish. Okay. So coming back. So what I was telling about Postman. So Postman is a tool which is used to manually test an API where we send a request to the server and we get a response. So we need to download it. So you can simply write over here, download Postman. If you hit enter, go to the official website. So over here, as per your operating system, you will get a notification. If you're working on Linux, it will be available. You can click here, Linux. If you're working on Mac, you can click on this Mac. But I'm working on Windows, so simply click here, select your version. I'm working on 64-bit, and simply save it at anywhere of simple. So it should be downloaded in few points of time. So I already have it, so I'm canceling this right now. So once you download it, something like this comes up. So this is Postman. This is Postman. And let me explain. Yeah, it is a free tool. It is a completely free tool which is used for API testing. So what is Postman? Over here you can see there is a new button. If you hit it, you can see you want to create a new request. What is a collection? A collection is nothing. A collection is a group of multiple requests. A group of multiple requests. To clear your concepts, this is a request, what we are sending to the server. And when I'm saying response, the information which is coming from the server, that is the response. Okay, I'll come to that, Pooja. So now coming back over here, if you see, we have something called import. When you write here, you can import a code, you can import a raw text, a link, a folder, a file. We'll use it later in the sessions one by one. So before using this, Postman tool, let me show you where exactly we are going to automate everything. So have you anyone who has heard about a website called Trello? Anyone who has heard about a website called Trello? No, no worries. For those who are unaware of this website, we are going to automate this website and using uh, API and UI, everything. So yes, Himanshu, you will be learning Postman during this course. This is a part of the course. Okay. So a Trello is a website which is exactly used, which is a to-do list sort of stuff. So we have a board. Let me show you. Control N. Trello is nothing. Trello is a very basic board which helps you in multiple things. Over here in this board, you have multiple small list. Like suppose I have a list. This is my, you can say, to-do list. Okay. Then I have a done list, right? Something like this. So we have multiple lists. Over what is the use of these lists? These lists are simply you can drag and drop anything from once you are done, and a tool like this. So let me show you. You can sign up for free. So it's the sign up. So I already have an account over here. So let me just, you guys can simply sign up, enter an email and all this information, very basic things. So if I click to go to your boards, so I have a board with the name new name. So once you sign up, a page like this opens up. Okay, now it has boards. If I open this board, I'll show you. So here you can see we have a board which is having a name as new name. There is a list called things to take. There is a list called items packed. There is a list called digital stuff. I can drag and drop. I can drag and drop. I can drag and drop. I can do anything. I can add a card. Let's say items packed. I can say clothes. So this is done. I have added one item over here. Digital stuff, you can write here tablet and all these things. So you can see this is a UI. You guys must be thinking that actually this is a UI, that whatever we do here comes under UI, right? What if I say I'm going to automate the API side of this? That will be the perfect example for you guys to understand that whatever changes I'm going to make in an API, the same changes will be reflecting back. The same changes will be reflecting back in this board. So if I go to boards, let's say, okay, so for this, first of all, this is a live website, Trello.com, very much used website. How are we going to get the APIs? I don't know what an API is. How I'm going to get the code? So for that, there is an official website of Trello named as Trello API. So you guys can open this website. This is the official website. So before opening this, let me open another one also, or is it the best one? Trello developer. So if you open this website of Trello's developer, they guys gives you complete information. These guys gives you complete information. Simply come down to the REST API section and API introduction. Over here, you can see they have given you the complete authentication process, authorization process. In the complete course, we are going to automate this complete project. We are going to automate this complete Trello APIs. I'll show you how to generate a token, how to generate a key, and all these things. Okay, how can we execute a code? This is an API. How do we hit an API, and all these things. But as of now, for today, I am directly showing you the APIs I already have. Okay, so this is my Trello board. These are my APIs. Suppose I want to add this. This is my board. This is a board. This is called a board. So in case if I want to add a board, I can hit this API. In case if I want to update a board, I want to delete a board. So we have multiple things. Let me show you one. Let me show you one that will be a help for you guys. So if I'm opening my Postman, so let me create a new board. So this is a API, guys. Before that, REST API. REST API has multiple methods. REST API has multiple methods. We can get, we can post, we can put, and we can delete. Now, what are these methods? Whenever we hit a get API, whenever we hit a get API, get API simply gives you the information. What is the role of the get API? To return the information. You can do nothing else, but you can only get the information of that specific API. Suppose I'm hitting google.com, so in return I will be getting all the results, only that. When I'm saying a post API, as the name suggests, what do you mean by post? Post simply means to add something, in the server. In case if I want to add something in my server, I'm going to hit a post API. What is a put API? Put API simply means whenever you want to update something, I'll say update something in the server. So there is a difference between post and put. What? Over post, we are adding something. In put, we are updating something. And for delete, we always delete our information. Okay. So now coming back, this was my post API. So you guys must be wondering what is this and all these things. Do not worry, I'll show you. So I'm going to create a new board. Let's name this board as 27 September. I'm simply saying I want to create a new board with the name 27 September, and I want to send it. This is the post API. This is the URL. This is the URL where I'm hitting my API. There is no UI involved here. There is no UI. I'm just hitting this URL with a name. I want a board. If I go back to my UI, if I go back, you can see a new board with 27 September is created. A new board with 27 September is created. I have not created that at my own. I have created that using an API. Let me show you that one more time. I'm going to create one more board. 1 September underscore 1. As of now, if I go back over here, you guys see only one board is available with the name 27 September. If I refresh it, still you guys see it's only one board available, right? Now I'm going to hit that API one more time. If you go back, ta-da, a new board is created 27 September. If I open this, all the functionalities are available. Okay, so similarly we are going to automate this process that we're going to hit from backend. We're going to verify from front end. This is a complete course of robot automation. We will be so Akshita, the question is, we will be automating this through robot framework, right? Yes, Akshita, we will be doing this through robot framework. So this is an API, guys. This URL is an API. It says go to this website api.trello.com. So we have a code from like this. Over there, go to boards. go over there, go to boards. So if I try to explain this in a more deeper manner, let me take one more example. Let me take one more example. How many of you have a postman? Not the tool. If you guys have heard about a normal postman guy, if you guys know about a normal postman guy, so he is a postman, right? Who is a postman? A postman is a person who takes your letters from one place to another and delivers that at the location, right? Correct. So I'm going to send a letter via this post. I'm going to send a letter. So this is my letter. Let's say this is red color. So over this, this is my letter. So in this letter, I have an address. In this letter, I have an address. Suppose the address is house 60, street 14, block H. Then you can say Saket, New Delhi, New Delhi, and then I'm saying India. Okay. This is the letter which has to be posted on this location. Now, what is the duty of this postman? The duty of this postman is to deliver the letter on this specific location, right? So where will we start from? Now, suppose this is the complete database that we have. Over here, if I make smaller chunks, these are my smaller chunks. So this is India. This is India. This is China. Let's say this is America, and so on. So where will be the letter go at the first phase? Where will be the letter going at the first phase? Definitely it will be landing in India as per the address, right? Correct, guys? Say yes or no. Clear till here, everybody, right? The letter will be going to be posted in India. Why? Because we have the India as the address. We're not ignoring. We have China also. We have America also, right? Now this in over India. Let me make smaller, more chunks. So we have multiple states. We have multiple states, right? So suppose this is Delhi. Over here, this is, let's say, Gujarat. This is some, let's say, Chandigarh, and so on. What will be the next path? The next path of my ticket is to land in Delhi, correct? The next path is to land in Delhi. Now, what's the next? In Delhi, there are multiple smaller areas, where we have multiple things, correct? Over here, I want to go to Saket. So my next duty will be to landing in Saket. My next duty is to land in Saket, correct? Right. Over Saket, we have multiple smaller, you can say, streets. We have multiple streets in Saket. Now from here, where will I go? From here, I will be going to this specific street where I want to land on. From this street, in this street, there might be multiple homes, right? I want to land in one home, so I will be selecting only one. So this is the complete way. The letter was traveling from here to here, then complete till my correct hometown, my house. What exactly I wanted to explain you here? My point of view to explain you here was this India, China and America. This is nothing but a part of a code. This is nothing but a part of a code which is residing in server side. So in server there are three folders: India, China, and America. I'm going to open since my request is for India, I'm only going to contact the India folder. Then inside that India folder, I have multiple more folders. My request is for Delhi, I'll go to the Delhi folder. In Delhi, I'll go to the Saket folder. From Saket, I'll go to the street 14, and from street 14, I'll go to house number 60. So whatever information is available in this house number 60, when I'm getting a request, I got a letter from one of my friends saying, hi, how are you, and all these things. What is my duty? My duty is to give him a return letter, right? So I'm going to write one more letter. This will be the response. This will be the response. So I am going to give a response to that specific person. It will be again traveling in the same way. It will go back to that street, from this street to this area, from here to Delhi, from Delhi to India, from India to that person. So I'm sending a request. Whatever the information is available, the same information is given as a response to the end user. In the same way, this API is working. This API is the address. I'm going in API folder. In this API, I'm going to Trello folder. In this Trello, I'm going to folder number 1. Over there, I'm going to boards folder. In this board folder, I'm saying this is my key and this is my token. I want to create a new one with name. So it creates a new folder, and in the response, it gives me the ID of that folder. It gives me the ID of that folder. So this is how the API works. Am I clear to everybody? Am I clear to everybody? The example is clear to all of you. All the 48 students available. That what exactly an API is, how is it working, and how do we get a URL, how the URL goes to the specific address in the code, and all these things. We'll go in more deep whenever we're going to start the course. So now the question of you are, how are we going to get this token and value? So yeah, I'm coming to that. In case if you guys want to do that, simply go to their official website. So this is the official website. Over here, there is a website called, you have, the first thing is that you need to log in. The first thing is that you need to log in, guys. So I have already signed up, sign in, and then go to this website. Click here. Click on this URL, trello.com app key. If you click here, you're going to get this key for sure. Copy this key, click on token. So I'm going to copy, I already have the key. Click on token. If you click token, it will ask you to authorize. Just simply click on allow button. Once you click on allow, you will get a token, right? So in this API, in this API, I am passing a key. The same key I copied, the token I copied, and the name I want. The name is 27 September. Now you must be thinking where I'm going to get this address from. So to get this address, simply go here. Over here, go down in this board section. Over here, there is a line saying create a board. Click here. So this is, simply go down, and this is the API. So you are going to copy this complete code. You copy this complete code, go back, click on import, go to raw text and paste it here. And paste it here and click on continue, import. So once you do that, you just need to exchange this value. You need to change the key, you need to change the value, and your work is done. And your work is done. Am I clear to everybody? Am I clear to all of you available here? A quick yes, guys. Show some enthusiasm. All the 48 students available. It is interesting or not? Does it sound interesting or not? To automate all these stuff and to verify the same on the UI stuff using robot framework with zero coding skills. With zero coding skills. Yeah. So Arpit, you want me to unmute you? Just give me a second. So yes, Arpit.
So hi, I wanted to know that this token that we need to generate every time, or it is only one time?
No, only one time. One time.
One time. And
Yes,
the
only
means we can use the same key and same token for firing any request.
Yes, exactly. For any Trello API request, you need the same key and token.
Okay. Means it will not expire, you are saying?
Yeah, it will not expire till a certain point of time.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So, okay, Ashish, let me unmute you. I need to search actually the students. So, Ashish Dandotia, where are you? Give me a minute, guys. I'm not getting your name, Ashish. Just a second. Yeah, I got it. Yes, unmute yourself, Ashish, now. Unmute yourself. Are you there, Ashish? Are you there, Ashish?
Yeah,
Unmute
am I
yourself.
audible to you? Am I audible to you?
Yes, yeah, you are. Yeah,
So
exactly.
like for this website, like token and key is available on developer website, right?
Yes.
For other websites for which we get the information, like we have to do some operations. So for that, how can we get it the token and key for other websites?
It actually depends on website to website, Ashish. For Trello, these guys follow this format. If you open
Okay.
another website, suppose let me show you one more. There is a website which is open to everybody. REQRES. So if you open this website,
Okay.
if you just simply go down, so these guys also have an API, but these guys, they will never ask you about token keys because of their authorization purpose. Trello person says
Okay.
we want someone who is authorized, who is well authorized. So we are going to work
So
on this website also. Yeah, tell me.
so it is like a security purpose. Like if
Yes,
someone like give the access, then they can share the token and the
yes, exactly.
second part.
It
It's
means
like that, right?
no third person can directly access my board
Okay.
unless or until
Okay.
that person is having my token and API key.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Welcome, Ashish. So I believe I missed a question. So how Om Prakash, your question was how to get the token and key. So to do that, you just need to go to this official website of Trello Developer. Let me ping that to everybody. I've pinged that official website. The first step is login. The first step is login. Deepti, I'm unmuting you in a minute. Just give me a minute. The first step is login. Once you log in, click on this link, which is Trello app key. Open this. You will getting this key. Click on token. Scroll down. It asks you to allow you. Click on allow button, and you will get your token. You will get your token, and then you have to use that. Okay, clear, Om Prakash? No, we cannot get the same in the networks section of console Aishwarya. We need to generate it like that only. Okay. So am I clear to everybody till here? Is it clear what is an API? How do we deal with it? What is Trello? How we are going to connect Trello UI with Trello API? So we are going to automate. I'm going to show. Yesterday I showed you how do we deal with the UI part. Today I'm going to show you how do we connect with the API part. Yeah, Shashi. Normally, they in any organization there is a developers team who gives you the API, the complete request that we guys automate. But since here we have an official environment of the Trello, so we are going to use it. Okay. So let me open. Deepti, do you want me to unmute you now? Do you want me to unmute you now or later? Can you please repeat the URL fetching part? Which one, Tanvi? URL fetching. Okay, this one. Let me give you the official. This one also. So over here, if you just go down, or you can even search for something if you want to. If you go down, there is a section which says create a board. There is a section called create a board. Click here. Once you click here, go down. You have the complete API. You have the complete API. So just simply copy this API, go to Postman, click on import, click on raw text, paste it, go down, continue, import. Once you import it, just change your key and your token and your work is done. Am I clear, Tanvi, this time? Am I clear this time, Tanvi? Okay. So Arpit, I'll explain you the concept of IntelliBot. Do not worry. A bit later in the session, okay? Yeah, Om Prakash, just give me a minute to unmute you. Unmute yourself at your own end. Unmute yourself. Yes, tell me.
Yeah, Ashish. So we got this key and token, right? So
Yes.
that key and token will change for each and every request or what? Like right now, if you see,
No,
we
no.
are using that update board, right? Update board or create board URL. So is it like for each and every URL that key and token are going to change, or they are going to
No,
remain
no.
like that only?
It is going to be same for every API request. It is going to be same for every API request. It is not, you have to generate it only one time and your work is done. Okay.
Okay, one more
Then you have
thing.
to repeat.
So
Yes, tell me.
so we are
Yeah,
seeing
go ahead.
multiple links. Hello,
Yeah.
Ashish, can you hear me?
Yes, Om Prakash, tell me.
So in that application, we are able to see multiple links, right? Like create board, update board, so those things. So it's like for each and every link, we need to use different URL or what?
Yes, for each and every link, you have a different URL. But we are not going to automate all of them. I have bifurcated few of them. So we are going to work only on few of them, not all of them. Okay.
Okay, the process is like whatever action we are going to do, we need to take that particular URL from that link. Then we need to post that in Postman. After that, we need to request that, right?
Verify that
Correct?
once we are posting it on Postman, then we are going to verify the same on UI.
Okay. So
Yeah.
process is like this. First, we need to
Yes.
go
Yes.
to that link, get the URL, paste it in
Yes.
the Postman, then send that request, get the response.
Yes. Exactly. And once you're getting the response, we're going to automate that response also. We're going to verify whether the exact status code is getting or not, whether the exact required stuff we are getting or not, and then we are going to verify the same on the official UI website also. The same change that we have done from the API end. Okay.
Okay.
So great. So now let me open PyCharm. Let me open PyCharm. So this is where we did it yesterday. We yesterday created one browser, open it up, and did a very basic thing that was clear to everybody. We converted a manual test case to an automation test case. So now today I'm going to, on the same hand, I'm going to write one more test case, which is, let's name it as API test case. So to work with API, to just give me a minute, guys. Yeah, coming back. So what exactly I was saying? So in case of an API, so yesterday we discussed like we downloaded the Selenium library. If you guys remember, we downloaded the Selenium library to work on open browser or all these keywords. Similarly, today also I'm going to download one more library. This library is called the request library. This library is called the requests library. Robot framework. So you have to add robot framework hyphen. So this is the request library. Just simply install this. Once you install this library, your work is done. Click on OK. Now I'm going to import it. So I'm going to say library requests library. So I'm going to use this library this time. What is the use of this library? Why am I using it? Request library will be giving me all these methods: get, post, put, and delete. We're going to get all these four methods from my request library. So let's try to create a very basic test case. Let's try to hit the same API that we are hitting in Trello. Okay. So the very what is the what are the steps? We have to take care of the steps. The first step. So let me log some information first of all. This is an API test case. This is also going to be very much easy. Zero coding experience required, and still you're going to automate a complete API in front of you just like a snap of a second. So for yeah, I'll explain things one by one, line by line. The first step that whenever we're going to create is, the first step is to create a session. The first step is to create a session. Now, what is a session? You guys can connect. A session is nothing. A session is but just, you can say, if I'm opening a browser, that is a session, right? Whatever work you do in that session, it happens. So whenever we are going to open a session, we need to give two things: name and API, or we can say basic URL. Basic URL. One important thing to be taken care of. Let me go to, or let me copy this complete API. If I show you it here, so you can see I have divided this API into three parts. I have divided this API into three parts. Okay, let me maximize it. So this was an API. I have divided that API into three parts. What is this part called? This part is called basic URL. This part is called basic URL. That was, this is the main address. I am in HTTPS. I am in this address. This is my basic URL. This part, the second part of this API is called path. It's called path. So we have a URL plus we have a path. Path means in this URL, you can say this is the India folder. In this India folder, we have multiple more folders like Delhi. Like Delhi, inside Delhi, we have states, we have areas and all these things. So this is the path, you can say. This is my basic URL. This part is called the path, and whatever comes after this question mark, whatever comes after this question mark, we call it as query parameter. We call it as query parameter in terms of technical. We call whatever comes after this question mark, we call it as query parameter. Okay, so we have three query parameters. We have one key, we have a token, and we have a name. So I'm passing key, token, and name. So three parts. I'm repeating myself. This main part is called the basic URL. This part is called the path, and then this part is called the query parameter. Now coming back to the above stuff, as I mentioned, the first step to automate a API is we need to create a session. Session takes two things: the name of the session and the basic URL. So let's go to our PyCharm. Let's go to PyCharm. Let's create a session. How to create a session? Very simple. I'm going to simply write create session. Need to give the name. Let's give the name it as, I'm going to hit an API to get the board ID. So I'm saying get board ID. So this is the session name. What is the next parameter? The next parameter is the basic URL. The next parameter is the basic URL. So the basic URL is http api.trello.com. Line number 25, clear to everybody till here? I'm just creating a session with two parameters: name of the session and the basic URL. Is it clear till here to everybody? Is it clear to everybody till here? All the 47, 48 students available down there. Get board ID is the name. So I'm going to get the IDs of the board whichever are available in my API, in my account. Now what is the next step? The next step is the data. The next step is this query parameter. I need to give this query parameter also. I need to give the key, I need to give the token, and I need to give the name, correct? So how are we going to give this data? So I'm going to write step number 2, give query parameter. So how am I going to give this query parameter? For this, we're going to use dictionary. For this, we're going to use dictionary. So minus query parameter is nothing. Query parameter is supporting material. If I open you here, this key, token, and name which I'm passing along with my API is called a query parameter. It's called a query parameter, okay? So that is only what we are going to write here. What is a dictionary? If I ask anyone, what is a dictionary? This is the key value pair. This is the key value pair. Suppose I have a key name. It has a value Ashish. So similarly, I am going to create a dictionary. How I'm going to create a dictionary? I'll simply say, let's take a variable. I'm going to take a variable. In robot framework, variables have a format. What is a variable? Variable is like a is equal to 10. So a is a variable. So here I'm saying data. Here I'm saying data, or let's name it as query underscore param. So I'm giving some query parameters. What are these query parameters? I'm saying I want to create a dictionary. So I'm saying create dictionary. I'm saying create dictionary. Now what next? I need to give the key and I need to give the value. So before that, let me open the stuff. So this is my API which returns me the, you can see here, it returns me the ID of all the boards available. So this is a get API. This is a get API which has 3 parameters: field, key, and token. And when I hit this API gives me the response of all the IDs. Now what are these IDs? IDs of 4 boards. All these 4 boards have a unique ID. All these unique IDs are available to me. Okay. So I'm going to take the query parameter. The first parameter I want is field. So I'll go back. I'll go here. I'll say I want field. The value of field is name, double spaces. What is the next key value pair? The next key value pair is key. So I need the key. So let me copy the key. I need the key. So I'll say key is equal to value. What is the next key value pair? The next key value pair is token. Token is equal to, what is the token? I'm going to copy this, paste it, and your dictionary is created. Very simple. I said I am creating a dictionary with the name query parameter. Okay. This dictionary contains 3 key value pairs. The first key is field, the value is name. The second key is key, the value is this. And the third key is token and the value is this. Am I clear to everybody till here? Am I clear to everybody till here? All the students available. Guys, be interactive. Stay alert. I can see so many students are not unattentive. Guys, pay attention. Okay. So now I have created this query parameters. So Akshita, in case of changing keys, I'm going to, this is hard coded right now. In future sessions, I'm going to get this from our API only. So this is a complete different process. So do not worry on that case. Okay. In future sessions, all of these things will be automated automatically. Now we have the query parameter. Now what is the third step? What is the third step? Third step is hit the get API. The third step is hit the get API, which means click on the send button. Click on the send button. How I'm going to do that? Let's open PyCharm. So I'm going to say, first of all, I'm taking one variable. I'm taking a response variable, that whatever response will come, store that in this variable. I'm saying I want to hit a get request. I said I want to hit a get request. Now this get request takes 4 or 3 or 4 things. The first thing is the session name. The first thing is session name, this name that we have created, for which we are going to pass it here. The second is the path. What is the path? This is the path. This is the path. Okay. So, and the third one is the query parameters. The third is query parameters. So I'm going to pass all these 3 information. So the first information is the session name. So the session name is get board ID. Copy this, paste it, double space. What is the second? The second is the, you can say the second one is your path. So let me go and copy the path. This is my path. And what is the third one? The third one is data. What data I'm passing here? I'm passing the query parameters. I'm passing the query parameters, and your work is done. Save, and your work is done. Keep uh, keep care of the indentation, guys. Shilpi, what is the difference between create session and query parameters? Create session is creating a, you can say it's just simply creating, it's simply naming this as that I'm naming this API as get board ID, nothing else. That instead of again and again passing the same URL, I'm only going to pass one name and my work is done. Like this I'm doing here. I'm passing one name, path, automatically it will connect with this. That is the only thing. Okay. Now what is the next step? What is the next step? The next step is I want to see the response. So I'm saying log to console. I'm logging it. I can simply say dollar. What is my variable? The variable is response. So I want to see the response dot text. I want to see the text of this response. So right now I'm commenting this first test case. Let's hit the second test case only. Go to terminal, write robot, and if I hit enter, since only one test case is there, so it says at least one argument required. Okay, let's give one argument, robot and test. Hit enter. It says the test case started and ended. It says one critical test case. You can see this is the response. The same response I'm getting here, the same response I'm getting here is the same response I'm getting here. So let me copy this response. Let me copy this. Let me show you it in a major formatted way. So copy, go to here, let's open JSON path. This is my API. Okay, first of all, we need to, let me open JSON formatter. For all those who are unaware, what is the JSON formatter? I'm telling in a minute. Here, paste your code, process, and it's processed. So it says we have an issue or all these things. However, there is no issue as such. I'm going to copy the complete response. Just give me a minute, guys. I'll explain everything. So this is the name. So yes. So this is my response, which I've shown you in this PyCharm. I've just converted this. Now, what is JSON? You guys must be wondering. What is JSON? Why we are hearing this name? So JSON, JSON, stands for Java Serializable Object. It is nothing. It is a key value pair. It is a key value pair. It says I want a key corresponding. I want a value. So I have just converted my data. So this is the key. This is the value. This is the key. This is the value. So I've just converted this text into JSON format and nothing. So this is my JSON format data. Okay. So anyone having any more? Is it clear to everybody till here? First of all, is it clear to everybody till here? A quick yes or no, guys. I believe things are very much easy. It's just a matter of paying attention. Things are very much easy. Am I clear to everybody till here? Yes or no? 4 lines of code and your work is done. With practice, you're going to learn everything, Manas. So, Akshita, get request is nothing. Get request is a function. Get request is a function which is I'm repeating myself, guys. Line number 27. Get request is a function which is responsible. The way we are hitting here, see, this is the function get. We have an API and then we click on the send button. Correct? Same process is being repeated here. We have this is the URL. These are the data which are available, and I'm saying I want to hit on the get button. This is the session which I have created, which means this API at this path with this data. If I go to Postman, I am hitting this API with this path and this data, all this 3 data. Correct? And then I'm getting a response, and then I'm saying I want to see the response, nothing else. Okay? Yes, Akshita, clear? So Jaydev, your question is, we have to perform same API test on multiple environments. How can we do that? We can definitely do that without any problem. It's just we need to, not hard code this variable. We can create our own environments at point of time. Now let me give you a basic example. Suppose I'm creating an environment variable. I'm creating, let's say, QA, and let me paste the environment here. Copy, paste. Then we might have another environment. Let's name it as staging, which is equal to paste the same. This time let me change a bit, API AAA. Then I can have one more environment. Let's name it as production, is equal to paste the URL, and let's simply write prod dot. So we have 3 environments working here. So I'm going to simply say, instead of this, I'm going to pass here the same QA. Still, let me see if it is executing or not. If I hit it, we can see it says your test case is passed. What more can I do? In case if I want to, let me clear it first of all. CLS. Now what best, one more thing is available. You can give the environment at runtime also, Jaydev. I can simply say -v. I am saying -v, which variable? By variable QA. I'm saying I want to execute it on variable QA. So QA, okay, we can actually set the value. I need to just cross check with this. There is a way out that we can give this via this also. So I'll check out and tell you in the later sessions. So Shivendra, your question is if you can say what request we send and want, please. Sorry, Shivendra, I'm not getting the question. If you can say what request we send and want, please. Can you be more explanatory, Shivendra? Till that point of time, am I clear to everybody in this test case? What exactly is happening? 4 lines of code and your automation testing is done. We have multiple assertions. We have multiple more things to do in here. We can automate multiple more things. We can assert multiple things here. So do not worry. There are multiple things in pipeline. So here, what request to send in, what response we expect in demo. Shivendra, do you want this request? This is what you are saying. Do you want this piece of code? Are you trying to say something like that? Not code, then should I unmute you, Shivendra? Yes, tell me.
Hi, Ashish. Actually, I understand that request response and code part, but like as you told before that, when Postman, when we are requesting, suppose I am sending to a third party to get the response. So here it's not pretty clear about that from where we are getting response. Like you hit it on the Google, we get it from automation. So this kind I'm not understanding which request we are sending and response from the which website we are getting.
So see, we are getting the response from the official server of Trello.com, which we have no access to. We cannot access their official server. We can only get the response from their official website. So we are hitting their official website, API Trello.com, and these guys have written some code in their machines which is giving us this response. So it is not visible at any point of view that what response you will get, but it's just that it's in their machines which they're giving it as a response. Okay. To see what
Okay.
exactly your response and all these things, we can have the REQ, RES. Over here, it is expected that suppose if I say I'm going to create something, I'm going to create a user, I'm going to send this request and this will be the response. So here we can verify on this website. Here on this website, we can verify this. But for some official websites, which we have no access, we cannot. Okay, Shivendra?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
So Shashi, your question is, can you explain the code again? Yeah, well, why not? So I'm repeating, I have created a session. This session is this APIfellow.com. I have named it as get board ID. Then I'm saying I have created a data set, a dictionary with few parameters like what is the name of the board I want, what is the key and what is the token. After that, I'm hitting the request. I'm clicking on that get button on this alias and on this path with this data. And whatever response I'm getting, I'm saying I want the text version of that response. And I'm logging it, printing it. That's it. Am I clear to you this time, Shashi? Shashi, am I clear to you now? Response is a variable, you can say. Response is a variable which is getting all this information. Okay. What is the use of the key field key? So this field is required so that I want the name in the response. So when I'm getting this response, you can see there is a name associated. So to get this name, I'm saying I'm sending a field that I want the name of the board. So the name of the board 27 September is having this ID, this name is having this ID, and this name is having this ID. That is why the field name is required. Okay. So Ramkrishna, your question is how to validate the value of a specific value in the JSON response. I'll come to that. But before that, am I clear to everyone till here? Am I clear to everybody till here? All the 44 students down there, am I clear? Be interactive, show some enthusiasm. Just clear means pretty much clear, not clear over the head, okay? So Dakshina, we need to create a dictionary because that is a format that whenever you have multiple data, we bind it in the form of a dictionary so that that data is not leaked. That is why, okay? Cool, got it? So now the very important question. Yes, Ashwarya, it is a mandatory field that we need to give in the code, the name. Otherwise, how will we identify the ID of a specific board? I'll explain each and everything in detail, do not worry. It's just a demo session, that is why I have created it like that, okay? Yes, Om Prakash, I'm unmuting you in a minute. Yes, Om, unmute yourself at your own end.
Yes, are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
So this Trello.com is there, right? So this is
Tell me.
dealing with token and key, right? So is this the same for other applications as well?
You're not
Like,
audible, Om.
Hello? Are you
Hello?
able to hear me now?
Yeah.
Hello?
Now I'm able to hear you.
Yeah, here in this Trello.com, we are able to deal with token and keys, right? So this is going to be same for other applications also,
Yes.
or will be different?
No. It completely depends upon each and every application how the developer develops it. For now, if you go for the Twitter APIs, these Twitter guys also have the key and token. If you go for Google Maps APIs, these guys also have a key and a token. But some developers do not have a key and a token; they give direct access. So it completely depends on API to API, on code to code, that what authentication is required. Okay,
So if you want to know about those things, we need
it's
to
not mandatory
check
that
with
every
development team only. Correct.
sorry.
If you want to know about these parameters, we need to check with development team, right? Correct.
Yes, yes. If you want to check what exactly they are sending, you need to contact the developer team. Always remember, these developer guys always gives you this code, and once these guys gives you this code, you will be able to check what all parameters are being taken care of. Okay,
Yeah, fine, got it.
cool. So, Aishwarya, only with the key and token can we get the response. We can check on the same time. If I'm not going to send the field, let's send it. So it's taking a bit more time, I don't think. So it gives you a basic response, but it gives you every information. It gives you every information for all the boards. It not only gives one, it gives you every information. But next, if I only want the information about the name, so then it gives me only the name information. Okay. So yeah, Ashish, tell me. You can unmute yourself at your own end.
Yeah, can we go to the code section of that we are written on the PyCharm?
Yeah.
So like as we are passing the keys and token in query param, right? But some of the websites for which it is not required, like as you said, like the REQ and RES. So what will we pass in this areas
It's
in
not
this section?
important. It's not important that every time you need to pass a data. For which APIs which there are no data, you do not need to give this field. You simply give
Okay.
the path and your work is done. For those which we have a query parameter, only for them we are sending it.
And one more thing,
Okay.
like you have taken this query param in the data parameter. We can directly pass this query param in this response section, right? Response parameter. We can directly pass, right?
No, we cannot directly. No, we cannot directly pass it. We need to give it like this only. That we are sending that we want the data to be like this.
So it's the format for that.
Yeah, this is the format. You can say this is the syntax that we need to follow.
Okay, okay, fine. Thank you.
Welcome, Ashish. So yeah, any more questions, guys? Am I clear to everybody till here? More assertions and JSON validations, everything will be taken care of. We cannot modify the response, Shashi, we cannot modify any response, but we can assert it. We can verify it. We cannot, modify it. Am I clear to everybody till here? Any more questions for anyone? So I believe that was all for today's demo session. So I am welcoming all of you for multiple questions and everything. So yeah, go ahead, guys. Like I only want 2 records, so we can do that at our own code level, Shashi. But from the backend, we are going to get the complete response. But with our own, coding skills, we can make it to 2, whichever I want. You can say like that. Okay. Yeah, Deepti, I'm going to unmute you. Deepti, yeah, tell me.
Hi, Ashish. I have few questions. So, like in the web API thing, are we just covering only REST or SOAP both?
So we are going to cover the
In,
REST APIs. Deepti. SOAP APIs are depreciated, as I already told. There is
Mhm.
nothing to connect to it. So only REST APIs will be taken care of. Yes.
Okay, sure. So, other thing which I was talking to you earlier. So, the UI path is advised that it is used only for Windows-based application. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Okay. So in UI, we can't use this API and web application, correct? So question
Yes.
is it in these, like, because I'm working in Selenium with Java, so it's going
Mhm.
forward. Are we not going to use Selenium at all? Is it coming towards to RPA or is it still is a partially means what is the drawback of the RPA which we can't do with the Selenium or something?
So
Because
the drawback of a robot framework is just, you can say, the drawback is like you're not going to get the backend information. Like I'm writing here, open browser. I do not know what is happening at the backend. I do not know what is happening behind the scenes. What code is written that magically the browser opens up. But when you're working with Selenium Python and Selenium Java, over there we write each and every line. We write the line in Selenium Java that driver dot, WebDriver dot Chrome. We give a path and all these things, right? But in case of robot framework, there is nothing like that. So that is why we say this framework is majorly for those person who are completely new in testing, completely new in automation, and going to have a startup or want to have something they can definitely do. Those who are not having very much good experience in automation, so they can start from here, and once they start from here, then they can move slightly to the other heavier part of the section. Okay.
okay, so it's mean that having an experience with Selenium, it will just means it will help me to learn further,
Yeah,
correct?
definitely. If you have any zero experience in Selenium, definitely it is going to help you a lot. Otherwise, I'm going to teach the complete Selenium part over here also.
Okay. The other question is, can we use a Citric application with RPA? Can we
Sorry,
implement?
can you repeat?
Can we use the RPA process for the Citric application? Because Selenium doesn't support Citrix.
I need to check on it. I'm not sure about it. I need to check on it. I've not worked on Citrix so much.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, welcome, Deepti. So, Shashi, your question is, Prithvi, your question is Python level of coding, how much we need to learn for both API and UI automation? You can say 20 to 30% of Python, we are going to work on it, Prithvi. Shashi, can we connect from database? Definitely, you can connect from database. Ready, your question is, I think, do we get this recorded session? Yes, you will be getting the recorded session for sure. Samir, your question is, Trello has drag and drop facility for management of cards. So this can be taken care of with the API. Yes, for sure. There is a different API where we can do all these things from backend also, and in front end also we can do the same. Using robot framework, drag and drop is very much easy. I showed you a demo yesterday for drag and drop everything. So Akshita, your question is, in case of Selenium, we do not need to perform the path of the driver, right? Sorry, in case of Selenium, we didn't need to perform the path of the driver, right? I'm not getting your question, Akshita. Can you describe it a bit more? So Tanvi, you asked, can we run this through Jenkins? Yes, I did it yesterday. I executed all my test cases from Jenkins in the yesterday's demo. We're going to set up the Jenkins completely over here, so do not worry. How to configure the IntelliBot? So to configure IntelliBot, I'll come to that in a minute. I'll give you one link. It will help you over there. Any more question, guys? Any more questions? I would love to welcome few questions. So, Om Prakash, I'm muting you. Just a minute. I need to search you guys first, no? Yes, tell me, Om. Unmute your, yeah.
Yeah. So, what's the difference between API automation with RBT framework and API automation with REST assured framework? How different this will be from API automation REST assured framework?
It's just the level of easiness. Oh, otherwise you can do everything in robot framework. It's just the level of easiness that you get with robot framework automation, and nothing, no more differences, I can say. All the things that you can do in.
Are we going to see API automation with REST assured as well? REST assured framework?
No, not in this course. We have a different course for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ashish, the question is, which will be the better between Selenium with Python and Robot framework? So it's up to you and it's up to your requirement, Ashish. Selenium with Python is also a good course to go ahead, and Robot framework is also a good course to go ahead. Shivendra, your question is, automation anywhere directly can be directly on web apps, testing or plugin Robot framework to PyCharm only is the way. Sorry, automation anywhere directly can be used for web apps testing or plugin Robot framework to PyCharm. No ways. There are multiple more ways, Shivendra. You can use Eclipse. For that, there is a Red plugin, but for PyCharm, there is an IntelliBot plugin. So, Shilpi, is IntelliBot required? It is required only at the first time whenever you're working on PyCharm and Robot framework. At that point of time, IntelliBot is required. Otherwise, it is not. I don't know Python, so any prerequisite for this? No, Ashwarya, there is no prerequisite for this. The course is completely open for everybody from scratch to advanced, so no prerequisite is required. Prerna, what is Robot framework? Robot framework is just, you can say, a platform independent entity which is available for all of us to automate multiple types of application, to automate web-based application, to automate mobile application, to automate desktop application. We can do all these three types of things using one entity, which is Robot framework. Okay. Am I clear to all of you? Yeah. So regarding the IntelliBot, I'll share you the plugin with everybody. I'll share that on email so that you guys can download it at your own. Okay. I'll share the steps also. Do not worry. Do we get a chance to work in live projects? So Manas, as of now, we do not have any live projects going on in the industry, but definitely you can create your own projects by the end of the day. And when I'm saying about Trello, so Trello is one of the live projects that we're going to work on. Yeah, Arpit, I'm aware about it. You're getting an exception. I'll share you on email everything. Do not worry on that. The time period for the complete course, guys, is maximum 2 months. It can take more or less, but the time duration is up for 2 months. Shilpi, you can use assert in this API, but assert is not a keyword which is supported in Robot framework. Assertions are very much different here. Okay. So yeah, the class duration will be 10 to 11:30 on every weekend, IST. 2 classes only on weekends. Okay. So Tanvi, can you please also include mobile application automation in the same course as I'm currently working on mobile apps? Since I want to learn both web and mobile, it won't be possible at the same time. Tanvi, we have a different course for mobile automation. This is not in the same course. Exception handling is present. Yes, Ashish, exception handling is present. Yes, Deepti, 10 a.m. India time, IST, Indian Standard Time. Yes, Purnima, we can use Robot framework for mobile automation for sure without any problem. Difference between UiPath and Robot framework, Vijay, UiPath is majorly used for desktop automation, and it is a category of Robot framework, and Selenium is also a tool which is used for web automation. No, Manas, the course is not available in the evening time slots. Multiple students from America are going to join us, so all of them are requesting to have the 10 a.m. Indian Standard Time. That is why. Yes, Purnima, we can use Cucumber with Robot framework. That is a part of the course that we are going to cover by the end of this course. Yes. So any more questions, guys? What will be the fees of the course? So you will get an email with all the details very soon, so you can get the information from there. Yes, we are going to work on that also, Shilpi, that only failed test cases are going to be executed. Rerun, we call it as. So yeah, all these things will be there. Deepti, the framework that we are going to create is termed as the project here. The framework that we are going to create will be termed as the project. Okay. We are going to cover all the sections of Selenium, Tanvi. the grid section and everything. Yes, Shilpi, grouping of test cases possible for sure. We have tagging system here. What all tool exposure will we get after this training? You will be getting a tool exposure with PyCharm, Robot Framework, and Postman, Jenkins, and Git also. So 5 or 4 tools, Abhilash. Sandeepta, I have not done automation testing but want to do through it. Is it possible I can learn automation thoroughly? Yes, Purnima, do not, Sandeepta, do not worry. You will be learning the automation thoroughly, the UI as well as the API, both parts. I will be taking it from scratch to the maximum. Purnima, is in mobile automation and web automation similar? No, there are multiple differences. In case of mobile automation, another library called APM is used, and for web automation, Selenium is used. So, Kamraj, your question is whether Robot Framework supports set-top box automation. Is it possible to control IR? So I have not gone through that as of now. So I'll give this answer on an email. I believe I'm not aware about this right now, whether it can or not. Can we integrate it with Jira? So you can integrate some test cases with Jira. So that depends upon your organization, Tanvi. Whether these guys have the access, you can integrate it with Jenkins. And once you integrate it with Jenkins, it can be done automatically. Yeah, Zephyr is also one of the same things. It depends upon your organization, Tanvi. All the OS supports for Robot Framework, Aishwarya, Windows, mobile, iOS, and Mac and Linux. All the four multiple OS are supported. No, APM testing will not be covered in this course. Only web testing will be covered. Mobile testing is not a part of this course, guys. Mobile testing, we are starting another new course next week. So you can join that course for that. That will be on Python based. Maybe next week or maybe next to next week, okay? So yeah, how many of you are satisfied with the demos and how many of you are interested to join? Now it's my turn to ask you the questions. How many of you are actually interested in joining this course from next week? I can see the numbers dropping, huh? Tanvi, for mobile automation with Robot Framework, you do not need to learn it, but you can do the same with Python also, so it's up to us. So out of all the 37 students available, how many of you are joining? How many have I satisfied? Yeah, I'm seeing multiple names. So I'm expecting all of you to see next week on 3rd of October. Am I right? Yeah. So any feedbacks, guys? As I already mentioned, I take feedbacks. Any feedbacks? How was the session? Any good feedbacks if you guys want to share? It's good or bad, anything will be welcomed. Session was good. Okay, thank you so much. So yeah, that's all for today, guys. We have a session for API, we have a session for UI. No, Arpit, this course is not on Udemy. Yeah, go ahead, guys. Just go ahead with the email. You will get an email by today or by tomorrow for sure. And yes, actually, you will be getting the recorded lectures for sure. Email will be there. I'm repeating myself. You will get an email with both the days recording and the fees detail also. In this pandemic, I believe you guys can definitely upgrade yourself. So yeah, thank you guys. Thanks a lot. I will be hoping to meet you on 3rd October at 10 a.m. Okay, IST. I'm repeating myself, IST. What is the duration of the mobile automation course with Robot Framework? That takes approximately a month, Tanvi. Yeah, Deepthi, I'm going to unmute you. Tell me, Deepthi.
Hi, Ashish. and I think my other classmates are also there. I'm just wondering if we can talk to Raman. As you mentioned, for the mobile, it will take a month. Am I asking that are you going to take the session for the mobile separately? Means not in this class. I know that you won't cover, but will you be the instructor? Or is it someone else will be the
I will be
instructor?
the instructor. I will be the instructor for that only. But we are going to start it maybe next week or maybe next to next week.
Okay, so my question is here, and maybe the other guys can also say the same thing if they are interested. I'm just wondering if we want to expand the course for, suppose, for mobile as well. I know the duration will increase, and the same time, the our fee will be changed. Is that
Mhm.
possible, or is it we just need to enroll separate because we are going to be the same? Because I believe that everyone want to learn about mobile as well. If they're not, I'm not my question, because like in the same consecutive in the 3 months we will cover complete cycle,
Mhm.
but that is my way to think, but I don't know about other audience here.
I'll contact with Rahul one time, and
Yeah,
he will shoot an email with both of the options, whichever will be suited. Let's see how it goes. So I'll contact with Rahul and will update you guys on an email.
that would be great. Thank you.
Welcome. So yeah, guys, that's all for today's session. I'll ask Rahul about it one time, that if we can add mobile automation in this course or not. Once I'll ask him, I'll update you guys. You guys will get an email, Sanjay, regarding the APM with Python. Wait for the email. The timings will be for evening for sure, maybe from 6 to 8:30 or 8:30 to 10. It will be one of the timings. So okay, guys, then good night. Take care. Stay safe. Stay home. I hope I'm going to see most of you on 3rd October 10 a.m. IST, enrolling in this course, meeting you back. So signing off, Ashish Garg this side. Bye bye. Take care. Stay safe. Stay home. Hasta la vista.